live classes. So we're going to go back to here. We have the presentation. We're going to finish the presentation and then correct. So we'll be in the workbook
Okay.
after we finish. We still have a little bit more to finish here. Okay. So next thing is
Look around.
look around.
Look around you. There are a lot of people to help you. We could look around and then eat something at the best place we find. Look around.
You good. Uh-huh. So it can be literal where we are literally look around, we are literally looking around. So if
Mm-hmm.
I tell someone look around, but in the second sentence, we could look around, so it gives the idea of going to different places. Look around at different stores, or in this place, in this situation, looking around at different restaurants, for example. So we can use it either literally turning our head or our body, or we can use it figuratively and going using it as an idea of looking at different places. Checking out different places would be another way to see that. Parents versus relatives. Do you know the difference?
Parents
First, do you know the
versus.
difference between parents and
Yes,
relatives?
yes, sure.
What's the difference?
Tem que falar com tem coisa. Look around.
No, no, not
De...
not look around. Difference between parents and relatives.
Ah, tá. Do outro. Achei que era da.
Yeah.
É... Parents e o quê? Desculpa.
Parents and relatives.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Parents for me is parents the mother and father.
Uh-huh.
I like my mother.
You like your mother, so you call her what?
Mom.
Mom.
Moms.
Yes.
Mom.
And so what are relatives?
Uh, I don't know. I think it.
So parents are
Ah.
pais and relatives parentes. And that's the reason that a lot of Brazilian English speakers confuse those is because it's a false cognate, parents to
Uh-huh.
parentes. So parents isn't parentes. Parents is pais and relatives are parentes.
Meu Deus. Tem nada a ver.
Yeah, so that's why we call those false friends. I like to call them fake friends because they lead us down incorrect paths. They lead us to something that isn't right because it seems like parentes should be parents, but it's not.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
going to visit my parents. My parents always read books to me.
And the
Um,
interesting thing here is if you were saying this, what would you say now for this second sentence?
Se eu for dizer o quê?
If you were to say the second sentence
Hum,
right now,
ok.
how would you read this sentence?
My
Because
parents.
why am I asking this? Do your parents always read books to you?
No.
No. But what if in the past they did? How would you read this sentence?
É, my parents always read the book to me.
Yeah, so it's one of those really weird ones where instead of having the simple past go into ed, it's actually one of the most uh, one of the probably one of the weirdest of the uh, irregular verbs because it's if we look at the way that it's spelled, then it's spelled. Let me see if I can. I know there's a whiteboard here. So it's spelled R-E-A-D, 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 R-E-A-D are the three forms of the
Hum,
present, the simple past, and the past participle. They're all R-E-A-D. But the pronunciation is read in the present,
right.
read in the simple past, and read in the past participle. So if you're saying that it's something that they currently do, then you would say my parents what?
Read
No,
books to
not
me.
if they currently do it. What is currently? Atualmente.
Ah, atualmente read.
Read.
My parents always read books to me. In the past, my parents always read books to me.
Exactly. Yeah, it sucks. It's one of those really weird ones that probably shouldn't be that way, but it is.
And wrote is to
Wrote? Uh-huh.
wrote, escrever, né?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, write, wrote.
E
What?
escrito,
Oh, good, good. So it's write in the present, wrote in the simple past, and written in
written,
the past participle. But most people say written instead. It's one of those like mountain where we don't say mountain and we don't say written usually. We say written and
written,
mountain. Mountain.
mountain, mountain.
And then with relatives,
Relatives, I'd like to invite my relatives to the party. All my relatives come to my house for Christmas. Oh, I'm so happy.
yay, yeah. Not true. We always go to other people's houses, and that's kind of how we prefer
Okay,
it.
how can I say uva passas?
Okay,
Do
that's kind of
nada.
random, but
Do nada.
it's raisins. So Christmas makes you think of raisins. Is that what you're saying? Yeah? No?
Sorry?
Christmas makes you think of raisins?
Raisins.
Yeah, uva passa is raisin.
Raisins. Não são duas palavras igual uva passas.
Yeah, because Portuguese is more complex.
No. English is more complex.
But you didn't answer my question. Does Christmas make you think of raisins? Is that why you asked that question?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, what do you have at Christmas time? What do you eat that has raisins in it?
É... Ai, tenta lembrar o nome da salada.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Portuguese.
I trying to remember the salad that with
That
raisins.
has raisins.
Has raisins. Yes, I don't remember. É, esse não é o meu prato de
I'm sorry,
levar.
I don't understand. Do you understand
Uh,
that I don't understand
oh,
Portuguese? I don't think you're understanding. All right, if we want to talk about the weather,
what's the weather like? How is the weather in your city today?
in your
To
sit is sentar.
city.
City, don't eat the
City!
Y.
Why?
Why are you eating the Y? That's my new one. Why are you eating the Y?
Dos mesmos criadores de Quem Não Come Chu,
Yeah.
Don't Eat the Why.
And se tiver to
To
be.
be, dos mesmos criadores de Se Tiver To Be, tem que ter hate.
That's good. I like it.
Okay. How is the
Dos
weather?
mesmos criadores de.
Yes, this voice is nice.
I have to find somebody who can do that voice.
Okay,
That would
how
be the
is
coolest. You know, that would be the coolest ad on Instagram. If I could get somebody with that voice, that would be fantastic. From the same makers of Se Tiver To Be, tem que ter ing. E can come too. Okay.
Can
So,
you to make some videos with this voice?
oh yeah, I can. I love doing my radio voice.
Yes.
Sejam bem-vindos. Hoje
Yes.
nós vamos falar. Yeah,
Very nice, very nice.
it's my favorite. My favorite thing to do actually. If I could change careers and become a voiceover actor, I would do it like that. I I I love that. And like doing books. That's why I am. I'm going to write The Little Prince. Have you heard of O Pequeno Príncipe? That
Yes.
book? Yeah, so I'm going to do a version in English that is an easier version for
Mhm.
students like you, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to do an audiobook of it, and it's going to have like questions and all that kind of stuff because I love reading. I've always loved reading, like reading to people and that kind of stuff. So be on the lookout for that. And it'll be for sale for everybody else. Of course, you'll get it for free, but it'll be on sale for everybody else. Everybody can buy my version of The Little Prince read by me. Okay, so what's the weather?
Eu não sei se eu entendi, eu queria saber se eu entendi. Tem um áudio seu gravando, lendo o
I'm
Pequeno
going
Príncipe?
to. I'm going to. It's a it's a
Ah!
it's a project that I'm working on.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but instead of the original version, because the original version was written in like 1920 something. So it's got really old.
20 something.
It was written in 1920 something, and so it has really old vocabulary and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to update the vocabulary and
Aham.
and make it so that the level is lower intermediate of the vocabulary and grammar and stuff. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to put out an audiobook version,
Oh my god!
reading it in English. So because
Cool.
I have one student that asked me to do it like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and now she just came back, and I was like, okay, I probably should do it since she came back as a student. So I kind of owe her,
All her. Or
owe her.
this.
Eu devo,
Ah, tá.
because she asked me to do it, a long time ago. Okay,
Ah,
back to
tá.
the weather. So the two main ways to ask about the weather are
How is the weather in your city today?
in your what?
City
Yeah,
today.
don't eat the Y.
Why? What's the weather like outside?
What is outside?
Um, in
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, not inside. Outside is not inside.
Outside.
So inside, outside.
Outside.
Yeah.
It's sunny. It's cloudy.
Cloudy,
Cloudy.
cloud.
Cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
Cloudy. It's rainy.
Mm-hmm. So notice here, it's. So for example, you wouldn't say is sunny because whenever we have the verb to be, we have to have a subject. So just like if I'm talking about where something is, like where is Sunflower Square? What's Sunflower Square?
Sunflower Square.
Praça dos
Escolheu.
Girassóis.
Ah,
So
nossa.
where is
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Oh, you loved it. You loved that one. So
Eu
where is
tentando aqui traduzir.
if I say where is Sunflower Square, I can't say is over there, right? I have to say it's over there because it would be redundant to say Sunflower Square is over there, and I can't leave it just with is. I need a subject. So then it would be
Can I
it's.
use outside?
Yeah, so the good question. The only thing about outside is anywhere that's not if I'm right here and I say
Okay.
it's outside, it could be next door. It could be in the next quadra. It could be in the next
In
block.
the
It
this
could be
area, this area.
no, it's not.
No?
That's what I was gonna say. Outside is anything. So outside is fora da minha casa. So for example, China is outside, right? Just means só
Really?
significa que não está dentro de prédio. It just means that it's not inside a building. So it could be outside anywhere. It's not specific as to where. So if I just say it's outside, then it just means that it's in the open air. It's not in any kind of building, but it not specific to our city, to our country, to the continent. Yeah. So because outside is a different kind of uh, idea, unless you were to say, for example, it's outside of my block, then, but it's still general, but not inside my block. It's outside of Palmas. So it's not inside our city. It's outside of Tocantins. It's outside of our state. So it's not specific enough in the way that you're thinking of using it. Another thing to keep in mind here is that when we say, how is the weather? We don't say, what's the weather? You can say, what's the weather in your city? But you wouldn't say, how's the weather like? Which is something that I've heard students say. You can't say, how's the weather like? You can say, how's the weather in your city? What's the weather in your city today is possible, doesn't sound great, but it's the
Yes.
best is either how's the weather in your city or what's the weather like. If you use like, it has to be what and not how.
In my city today is very hot.
So there you go, right? In my city is very hot. You can't because you said in my city and then you have is. You don't have here, you're talking about the weather. The weather is, right? So the city is one thing, but when you where you have is, if you say in my city, then you have to have a subject there with is. So if you say in my city, it's very hot, just like it's sunny, it's
Mm,
cloudy. Now, if you don't say in my city, if you say my city is, then my city is connected to is instead of saying in my city, it's. So that's the difference there. If you start off with the preposition in, then you need to say in my city, it's hot. But if you say my city is hot, which in fact, in my experience, is less common to say my city is hot today. It's more common in my experience that you would say in my city it's hot today or just it's hot. It's here here it's hot today.
okay.
And today it will be hot because summer has come. Summer has started, right?
Today, every day, all day,
Yeah, for
night.
for the next for the next 6 months. It will be
See?
hot. It will be
Next
hot and
year,
dry.
next.
No, but I mean, yeah, it'll be hot, but after when the rain starts again, then at least it's not super hot. Like, it won't be
Yes,
100 it won't be 100
true,
degrees.
it's
It'll
true.
it'll be 70 degrees with 97% humidity, but
Yes.
it won't be like now where it's going to be 100 degrees with 30% humidity. So,
Teacher, just a moment, please.
sure.
Ô, pega uma garrafa de água pra mim, por favor. Não precisa pôr gelo, tá? Por gentileza, obrigada. The weather. It's too hot today. I like the heat. Heat.
The Heat. Miami
Heat.
Heat. Did you ever
Heat.
have you seen you've only seen the
Heat.
Knicks, right? You haven't seen have you gone to a Heat game, the Miami Heat basketball? Or
I
just
think.
or
I
just
think so.
just the Knicks?
Just the Knicks.
Yeah, all
Go
right.
Knicks.
Yeah, whatever. Did I tell you I hate the NBA because my team
Yes.
moved? Yeah. Yeah, every time we talk about the NBA, I'll tell you how I hate the NBA because my team left Seattle.
That's your problem.
Oh, wow.
Bye,
Wow.
teacher.
I don't have a nice day.
Ai, péssimo. Ok.
That's your problem. That's fantastic.
Você está criando um monstro. Fala isso em inglês agora.
Yeah. How do you say that in English?
Ah, você está criando um monstro. You are to
What's do,
create a monster.
to create is the verb, right? Is the infinitive. So
I
you are
creating.
creating,
Thank you. Creating.
creating. Yeah, so three syllables. Creating. Oops. Creating. No. Creating.
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 You are creating. Creating.
There you go.
Creating a monster.
A monster.
Cheers.
Monster. Cheers. Yeah. Cheers to the monster. So, and the other, so now that we're working on pronunciation more like a native speaker, instead of you are creating, then we're going to go you're creating.
You you're
You're, you're,
you're
you're
you're creating.
creating.
You're creating. You're creating a
Perfect. There you go.
monster.
You're
You're
creating.
creating. Oh, a língua dá uma paralisia aqui. Okay, it's warm outside. I'd rather.
Rather,
Nossa. Raz, tipo Z?
no,
Ah,
th is never z. Remember, th is never z. It's never v. It's never f. It's always either th or th. And here it's th.
rather.
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 Yep, that's it.
Rather.
Mm-hmm.
Rather. Have cold weather.
Yes, but same thing, not weather, weather.
Weather.
Yeah, weather.
Rather. Weather.
Yeah. So first of all, what is heat? Let's go back to heat. What is heat? How do you say quente?
Hot.
Hot. How do you say calor?
Heat.
Heat. So hot is the adjective, heat is the noun. How do you
Um,
say frio?
cold.
Cold. How do you say o frio? The cold.
Eu ia falar isso. Tirou as
Yeah.
palavras da minha boca.
Well, you were too slow. So when we have cold and the cold, so with cold, then it's the adjective and the noun. With hot, then hot is the adjective, heat is the noun. Now,
Pera. Hot é quente. Heat é
calor, o calor, the noun.
calor.
Now, I'd rather, what do you think I'd rather have cold weather means?
É, é,
Oh, I lost you. Oh, there you are.
meu computador deu sinal descarregando aqui. Eu já esqueci o que que é.
Which one?
Rather.
Oh, yeah, rather, if we talked about it, we only talked about it briefly. So, what is have cold weather first? Let's try and do be detectives on this one and figure out what it means. If we don't know I'd rather, then what about have cold weather? What does that mean?
Sentindo o clima está frio.
What does have?
É, pode ser pode ser have de ter e pode ser o have de auxiliar, né?
Yeah, so we unfortunately we do have a few meanings. We have tomar, we have auxiliary verb, we have but if we boil it down to the most common use of have, what's that? Ter, possuir, right?
Isso.
So, ter tempo frio. E I would. What's I would?
É, I Would. Eu gostaria. Ia alguma
Opa, whoa,
coisa.
whoa. So remember,
Não, não, não. Ia alguma coisa. Ia
e
alguma.
algo, yes. So
Ia o
it's
quê? O que que é rather? E é
exactly,
isso aí.
it's would and not always would like.
Isso, isso, isso,
Only
isso.
if it's I'd like. Okay, so eu
Uhum.
ia ter tempo frio. So what do you think rather filling that in would be? Any thoughts? It's like prefer.
Prefer?
I'd rather is like I prefer.
Mas esse é o significado?
Yep. So it's the same as saying I prefer to have cold weather or I prefer cold weather. I'd rather is what I refer to as a weird verb because weird verbs don't act like most other verbs. The two main weird verbs, that what I call weird verbs, are let's and rather. Because let's literally means let us, which is how we say bora, right? Let's go, let's eat, let's have pizza. So let's doesn't act like other verbs because of the way that we use it is not how it's literally let us. Same thing with rather. Rather, when we want to use it in the same way as prefer, it needs would. I'd rather go to Seattle. I'd or he'd rather go fishing. Ele prefere, right? He prefers. He or even he would prefer. Ele preferiria. So when we use rather in the idea of something that you prefer, then it has to have would. So you can't say I rather have cold weather. It doesn't make sense. It has to be
É
I'd rather.
sempre I'd rather.
I'd or
I'd.
he'd or she'd, and now that's a contraction. So literally it's I would rather, but it's one of those things. Remember that would is
Uhum.
one of those auxiliary verbs that almost always is contracted. You won't hear it very often as I would unless it's an answer like who would like to go? I would, right? Because that's a short answer. Or if you're putting more emphasis, if I say, uh, Enoara, you wouldn't rather have cold weather, and you say, I would rather have cold weather, then you don't use the contraction because you're putting more emphasis. And then, of course, more formal or technical situations where you would also separate that contraction. But other than that, the two that I always say, it seems to me, are the two that where you almost always hear the contractions are would and can't. It's rare that you would hear cannot, and it's rare that you would hear I would, he would, she would. So same thing here. There are other uses of rather, but they're kind of colloquial. They're um, not nearly as common as when you want to say prefer. So we
Okay.
won't get into those right now. So that's
Teacher, we
that's yo.
we are online in the Instagram. Instagram.
I don't know. Today's a test.
Ah.
So I guess we can check. But so uh,
Aqui pra mim não está aparecendo.
okay, then we probably aren't. I'll probably have to figure out how to fix that. Uh, so oh, you know what? I think I have to go into Instagram and do it. Let's see. I'm gonna try and do it right now. Let's go. Create live.
Insensível.
Okay, let me. Well, uh, why isn't it? Yeah, I think we'll have to wait until next time.
Vou entrar ao vivo no meu. Do nada. Enoara está ao vivo.
Live stream,
Live.
Instagram. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, so no, we're not, but now I know better how to do it. Okay,
Now we are online in my Instagram.
okay. So let's continue on with what did I do? I just screwed that up. All right. Uh, so that was the first thing. The second thing that I wanted to talk about with the weather, well, not necessarily the weather, but when we talk about temperatures, this
Temperatures.
I'd rather have cold weather. There's a problem here because what is cold weather?
Clima frio.
Yes. So if I say cold weather, it could be very cold because cold is anything that's not, it's frio, but it could be like something that is uncomfortable. If I say cold, cold weather, for example, can be uncomfortably cold. It can be something that is not comfortable. Same thing with
Hum,
hot. If I say I like hot weather, hot can be something that is uncomfortably hot,
hum.
something that is too hot. So when we talk about weather, most of the time, then we don't use hot and cold when we talk about the kinds of weather that we prefer.
Hum.
Uh, so do you know what we use when we talk about weather that is hot or that is cold, but we,
No.
we want to say comfortably? In that case, we use warm, which is
Warm.
what's warm?
Quente.
Well, agradavelmente quente or literally morna. So,
Agradavelmente quente.
which is
Meu Deus.
morna. It's literally morna. But it
Morno.
gives
Tá.
gives the
Warm.
idea of something that is not it's not too hot. Because if I just say hot, it can be comfortable or it can be uncomfortably hot. It can be something that is not comfortable. If I say warm and I'm talking about the weather, it gives the idea of something that is comfortable.
Ok.
Okay, so it doesn't get into an area where it's uncomfortable. The same thing with cold. If I say cold, then it could just be cold or it could be uncomfortably cold. But if I say cool, what is cool,
Cool.
right?
É,
So as slang, it means legal, but
uhum.
literally cool means fresco when I talk about the weather. So,
Ahn,
like if there's a cool, we use it a lot to say a cool breeze. What is a
aham.
breeze?
É,
A
vento?
light wind, right? Leve vento. Or breeze.
Hum.
Actually, I think it's brisa. Isn't there brisa in Portuguese to talk about a light wind? So that's what a lot of times we'll say a cool breeze. So if it, especially like here where it's hot during the day, and then in the evening there can be in parts of the city there can be a cool breeze, not super cool, but at least lower temperature, then you can say a cool breeze. So there's there are four different levels when we talk about temperature of the in general temperatures. We have hot, which is quente, but it can also be uncomfortably hot. Then we have warm, which is comfortably hot. Then we have cool, which is comfortably cold. And then we have cold, which can be used to talk about something that is too cold. So most of the time you wouldn't say too warm or too cool, unless like too cool, like if you're talking about slang. But you would use too hot and too cold. Especially here, we would use too hot pretty often.
Okay.
Okay. So those are because the reason that I talk about that is because I've heard people say, especially people in Palma say, I like cold weather. I prefer cold weather. But that can be misleading because cold weather can be Antarctica, right? Nobody likes Antarctica or northern Alaska. That would be cold weather. Where what most people want to say when they say I prefer cold weather or I'd rather have cold weather, what they want to say is I'd rather have cool weather. In fact,
Cool weather.
cool, yeah.
Cool.
So, like I did here, we usually won't use cold there, we'll use cool. I forgot that I did that. That's cool.
That's
So,
cool.
I'd rather have cool weather. That's all. So,
That's
let's
all.
practice and actually let's correct first and then we'll work on practicing. And as I'm doing this, let me see if I can stop one
Page
thing here.
8.
Yeah, actually, let's do this. We'll stop.